knowledge. Late night ish. And it's time. We finna learn. We finna learn about Japan and China. Oh yeah.
On the future of our world. And that leads us to a much bigger question. What is China? 那我们就碰到一些，你们都是重庆本地人，对不对？哦，不是的，不是，你们说哦，你是四川，哦，不错不错，四川离这里很远吗？很近对吧？哦，欢迎来，欢迎来，太好了太好了，谢谢。I'm from America. Yeah, yeah, and my friend is from Canada. When you see American, do you think like we're good people? Yeah. Okay, perfect.
They're like, oh yeah, y'all good people. We ain't got nothing against y'all.
You want to be our friends? Okay, good. That's great. That's what I want everybody to understand. When you come to China, this is what it's like. Over 120 nations around the world call this country their top trading partner. And whether you like China or not, there is no denying that China will have an incredible impact on the future of our world. And that leads us to a much bigger question. What is China really like in 2024? Well, to help us answer that question, I've traveled to Western China and I'm standing atop the 73rd floor of the World Financial Center. This is one of the most incredible
Before we dive deep into China and Japan, and maybe we'll watch the Japan video first because it's a little shorter. I want to make it very clear that although I am currently seemingly entertaining myself with, although this is education based, so it's like I'm in school right now, but I'm just not paying $1,000 billion. I am not only consuming this knowledge, this entertainment, as one might call it, I am also stretching. You see, I've just trained. I've just had people try to damage my body, my limbs. Of course, they weren't really trying that hard, and they never had a chance anyways. But the point is, I was strenuousing my body. And now, while I entertain and educate myself, because education can be entertainment, I will be stretching. Because I don't know if you've noticed this, but I am on the floor. I am not in a chair. Chairs, in fact, if you were to look around this room, you would notice there is no chair. The closest you will get to a chair is a ball. And I rarely sit on that ball because I like the floor. Because when I'm on the floor, I can stretch. I can really focus on all the little things. Where if I was sitting in a chair, like most of y'all, I'd be like this. My back would probably start to get unnaturally down. My neck started getting cramped up. But here, I'm focused. I'm on the floor. I'm really feeling it out, pushing my hands on the ground. You know, I implore you, if you are watching this video, I implore you to sit on the ground and stretch while you consume. Look up, not down. If you can ingrain within yourself slight adjustments, you can do almost the same thing, but improve. You want to watch content. You want to chillax. You want to be a freaking... That's cool. Watch content. Watch this content right here. And I'm going to put on the knowledge. And I'm going to make it cool and funny. And I'm also going to teach you how to be sitting on the floor. Because you don't know. So yeah, if you watching this right now, get on the floor. Or you're a whore. Alright, now we start education. First, I'm going to do the Japanese one. Because it's shorter. And you might be thinking, man, I'm on the floor right now. If you got on the floor, good job. But you might be thinking, man, this ain't that comfortable, man. And that's it, man. It might not be comfortable at first. That's with anything, bro. If you do something, it might be good for you, but it might not be comfortable right away because you have become comfortable with the wrong things. And when you're comfortable with the wrong things, the right things may seem uncomfortable. And so that's why you really have to be aware and know that there's an adjustment period where sometimes the first month of adjusting to something new is going to be tough. But once you get over that hump, that's when the goodness comes. That's when the goodness comes. Straight up, dawg. I tell you no lies. Alright, let's get down to business.
どうしてだと思いますか日本
Why
人口生まれな
Japan's
くても
population is declining?
日本の抱える一番大きな
I don't know if you knew this, but Japan's birth rate is going down. They aren't reproducing. And not only that, but they're dying. And they're old. And this is probably all designed at the highest levels of government, orchestrated. And that's a conspiracy.
問題だと僕は思いますね。Hey guys, hi, I'm Takashi from Japan. So today I'm going to interview Japanese people why Japan's population is shrinking. Why Japanese people stop having babies anymore. Okay, let's get started. 日本人の出生率とか人口下がってきてるじゃないですか。まずそれについてどう思いますか？
そうですね。やっぱりこう力というか、そういったところやっぱ少なく、減ってきてしまうっていうところあるんで、なんか課題だなみたいなのはぼやっと感じてます。
失礼ですけど、ちょっとご年齢とか聞いても大丈夫ですか？
今28歳です。
欲しいと思いますか？それとも自分の人生にはあまり別にって感じですか？
欲しいですね。それはもう奥さんとも話します。
結婚されてます。
はい。
なるほど。周りの友達、同じぐらいの年代の方たちで、子供欲しいっていう方が多いですか？それともいらないっていう方が多いですか？
でも欲しいけど、1人とか多くて2人ぐらいっていうのはやっぱ周りでは一番多いパターンかなって感じです。
どうして日本人は子供を産むのが少なくなってきてると思いますか？
個人的には、コロナのこととかもあったりとか、なんかその家族っていう視点より自分に視点が向く、なんかそういう機会が多かったのかなみたいなのは、一人でもいいんじゃないかみたいな、なんかそういう気持ちだったりとかあるんじゃないかなみたいなのは思いますかね。
人口減ってきてる、その解決策の一つとして外国人を誘致してるし、多分今国としても、雇用する外国人の数が年々めちゃめちゃ増えてきてると思うんですよ。住んでる外国人が。それについてはどう思いますか？
すごくいいことだなっていうふうに僕は思いますかね。僕ちょうど昨日までカンボジアに行ってたんですけど、そう言ってたんですけど、やっぱりそのなんだろうな、なんか日本の高度経済成長期みたいな、なんかそういう活気みたいなものがやっぱりある、人にエネルギーがあるみたいなのはすごくやっぱ感じるところだったんで、なんかそう日本だけじゃなくて、なんか海外の方とかにも手を借りたり、彼らのエネルギーみたいなものをどんどんこう吸収して、だからあまり日本ってこう区切らない方がいいんじゃないかなみたいなのは個人的には思ってます。
増えてくることに対して反対している人とか賛成している人とかは日本人の全体の意見としてはどっちが多いと思いますか？
どうですかね。でもやっぱりね、その出生率の話にとってもやっぱ高齢の方が多いと思うんで、そういう方からするとやっぱりちょっと保守的なのかなみたいなのはあまりやっぱ受け入れたくないっていうのはイメージですよね。あるのかなっていうのはやっぱすごく感じる。
ありがとうございます。
Woo, this is a tough choice, but I can't go
Get
like
this out of
this.
here, man.
I'll give up my
Ain't nobody got
sword.
time for this.
ご年齢聞いても大丈夫ですか？
はい、21はい。
結婚とかって将来、今じゃなくても将来してみたいと思いますか？
一回はしてみたいけど、できないというかしないならしなくてもいいみたいな感じですね。自分子供欲しいんですけど、結婚は別にいいかなみたいな。
I want kids, but I do not want to get married. What? What are they teaching these people in Japan, man? This is anime, bro. These are some weeb anime girls, bro. These anime girls, they just want to look pretty. They just want to get their hair did. But they don't want to have kids? What?
子供は欲しいですか？
いや欲しくない。逆に結婚しても子供欲しくない。
なるほど。
自分のしたいことをしてる気がする。
I bet you would.
なんか日本って今人口減ってきて
She doesn't want kids? For what? She's pretty. She have good looking kids. Why is she? She wants to what? What does she want? Does she know that it's all downhill from 35 if you don't have kids? That once you turn 35, it's just gonna start getting lonely, and you're not gonna have blood relatives who would die for you. Somebody needs to tell this girl.
子供を持たない、てか子供を持たない人が多いってことじゃないですか。どうしてだと思いますか、日本人が子供を産まなくなってきてるのは。
なんでだろうね。まあ仕事に支障みたいな感じじゃないですか。
じゃあ日本人は結構子供を産むの前に仕事が先にある人が多い。
Women should not be working. Oh my.
どうしてだと思いますか、日本人が子供を産まなくなってきてるのは。
産んでもみたいな。育てられないしみたいな感じが多そうだ。
どうしてだと思いますか、日本人が子供を産まなくなってきてるのは。
なんでだろうね。まあ仕事に支障みたいな感じじゃないですか。
じゃあ日本人は結構子供を産むの前に仕事が先にある人が多い。
お金とかが多そう関係して一番お金ないから産んでもみたいな。育てられないしみたいな感じが多そうだ。
今ってなんかいろんな娯楽とかあったりとか結婚しなくてもいいっていう選択肢が結構なんかマジョリティにもなってきて、昔だったら子供を産んで家庭を持つっていうのが一つの幸せだったじゃないですか。それなんか変わってきてると思いますか、日本は。
変わってきてドラマとかもね、なんか結婚しなくていいみたいな感じのドラマとかあるじゃん。それがあるけなんかあれな気がする。
なるほど。
もう結婚しなくてもいいやみたいな。
それって東京の人が特にそうと思いますか。まあ、東京の人の考え方とやっぱり地方は
違う。だから地方はすることないから、そうするね、することないからとりあえず出会って結婚みたいな。でもさ、東京はね、私らも上京してきてすることありすぎて、なんかそんな暇ない。
なるほど、確かにありがとうございます。日本出生率が低くなってきてるじゃないですか。
She said, people outside of Tokyo. Is that what she said?
なるほど。
もう結婚しなくてもいいやみたいな。
それって東京の人が特にそうと思いますか。まあ、東京の人の考え方とやっぱり地方は
違う。だから地方はすることないから、そうするね、することないからとりあえず出会って結婚みたいな。でもさ、
Boom.
東京はね、私らも上京してきてすることありすぎて、なんかそんな暇ない。
なるほど、確かにありがとうございます。日本出生率が
We don't have time to worry about that stuff. About having kids. About having small yous who love you more than anyone. We as women don't have time to think about that because we'd rather go to the club and get hit on. We'd rather pop that thing. That's what I heard. We ain't got time for that. We are too westernized.
が低くなってきてるじゃないですか。この問題についてどう思いますか。
いや、これはね、日本の抱える一番大きな問題だと僕は思いますね。女性の負担がね、この国は本当に多いと思いますよ。僕はアメリカに15年住んでましたし、ドイツも3年ぐらいいましたけども、やっぱり女性たちが外に出て働くのが当たり前の社会がもう続いてるわけですよね。それで日本の場合にはそういう状況になったのはおそらく10年とか20年差がなってきて、で女性も独立だけどもやっぱりそうは言っても他の国に比べるとまだ女性が働く社会になって。
He said it right there. The women are working. New to Japan. It's throwing everything off. Look, I'm about to give a hot take right here. So, people are saying jobs are running out. Not enough jobs. So, if we just remove all the women from the workforce, there's way more jobs. Right? And then, that way, there's actually someone to raise the kids. Maybe we cancel schools, we cancel the school funding, and we reallocate it, and we start getting the women back in with the kids, and things of that nature. I haven't fully fleshed it out yet, but that's the beginning of an idea.
でない。どういうことかというと、女性がですね、家を持ったらその家事の負担とか子供たちのね面倒を見る負担だとかが他の国に比べたらもう圧倒的に多い。でそうするとですね、結婚したくないねということに当然なってくる。自分たちが育ってた環境もあるんですよ。要するに海外の子供たちっていうのは家の仕事をするっていうのが当たり前で育ってるわけですね。男の子も女の子も。例えば男の子たち、日本の男の子たちは多分お母さんのお手伝いをすることもほとんどないだろうし、家事についてね、家事をどうやってやっていくかっていうのは知らないと思うんだけど、
そうですね。僕自身も父親が家事していることは多分一回も見たことないですね、生まれてから。
これからどんどん中国についてインドがねどんどん伸びるし、その中で日本がねV字回復してどんどん伸びていくということはない。やっぱり静かに少しずつ縮小していく経済だと思いますけど、じゃあそれが不幸なのかっていう問題ですよね。
一つの解決策として外国人を誘致しているし、多分今してて、年々日本に住む外国人、旅行じゃなくて住む外国人が増えてきてるじゃないですか。それについてはどう思いますか。賛成ですか、反対ですか。
必然的にそうならざるを得ない。
もう
やっぱり強制できる社会の仕組みを作っていかないといけないと思います。例えばそういう人たちが来てね、アメリカの学校 ESL 教室があって、外人が来るとそこの、英語はあんまり喋れないよっていう子供たちをそこで英語を習わせるという仕組みがあるんですね。じゃあ日本の学校にそういうのがあるのかと。日本語喋るね、喋れない国ほとんどの国はそうだけど、ちゃんと教育をする仕組みがねできてるのか。だから日本だって当然それが必要なんですよね。
What do you think is the most different things when it comes to Japanese people and American people?
US people try to make friend to expand his or her relations with the people. So it means they like party or always try to expand. Socializing, yeah. And Japanese people try to make the group tighter. There are some tendency to make always group among the Japanese people. I think that area is not so good point for the international relations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
年齢先に聞いても大丈夫ですか？
今年24歳になりました。
24歳
はい。
将来子供は欲しいですか？
子供は欲しいです。
どうして日本は今少子化が問題になっていると思いますか？どうして人口が減ってきていると思いますか？
女性がなんか手に職持ってなんか独立というか自立して生活できる社会がなんか根付いているのと、あとはなんだろう。
人口が減ってきているのに対して
Women have jobs now so they can function in society independent. Women have jobs now so they can function in society independent. So basically, what you're saying is women have now got jobs so they can make money, so they can provide for themselves, rather than have the man make enough money for him to provide for her and him. That way she can focus on the kids and her duty from God. Because if you're a woman, I don't know if you knew this, but you have a duty. You have a duty from God. And that's to reproduce. That is to be motherly. Look, I'm going to straight up say it. People are going to be, I don't know. People are going to be how they're going to be. But there is not many things that women can do better than men. But if I could think of one thing that women can definitely be better at than men, having kids.
まあそれで経済も落ちてるじゃないですか。
That's not to say that there aren't women who can outplay the most incompetent of men or even averagely incompetent men. But the best men, women can't compete with in any area except for birth.
それの解決策として外国人を誘致していっぱい進んでもらうっていうのがあると思うんですけど、メリットデメリット両方あると思うんですけど、それについてはどう思いますか？
私は全然メリットだなんかいいと思います。そうですね。やっぱり若い働き手が日本少ないので、海外の方来てもらってなんか働くことでなんか経済回るようになるんじゃないかなって私は思います。
外国人、まあ、住む、これから多分5年、10年、20年か多分めちゃめちゃ増えてくると思うんですけど、その人たちに気をつけてほしいこととか、その人たちにしてほしくないことはありますか？日本で。
そうですね。やっぱ日本人ですごいマナーがある人種だなと思います。例えば電車割り込まないとか、なんかそういうマナーとかはなんか日本人に合わせてもらいたいなと思います。電車とか乗っててもなんか妊婦さんに席変わってあげる海外の方とか見てなんかすごい優しいなって思います。
確かに日本人はあんまりそういうのしないですよね。自分から積極的に優しい行動をするのはあんまりないですね、日本人は。
と思います。
じゃあ、ありがとうございます。
はい
日本って今人口が減ってきてるじゃないですか。それについてどう思います？まず原因とかどうしてとか。
セックスしないから
なんでセックスしないから
セックスしないからなんかその日本では性に根本なことが恥ずかしいと思われる傾向があるんで、なんか子供を持つとやっぱ経済的な負担がかかるからなんか持ちたくないという人結構増えてると思います。なんで日本人の夫婦とかもなんかいや子供はもう3人以上はきついよみたいな人は結構リアルにあると思うんで、欧米に比べて
These are some skinny dudes right here. These are some skinny dudes. Now I get what they're saying. You know, there's a lot of nervousness, sex and whatnot, but skinny dudes.
しないとお金がね経済的かなと思います。でも不倫はよくある国です。不倫はめっちゃよくある国なんで、
それは個人的な経験から言ってますか？
これは報じられてるので現実的なとして日本人はコストが好きだけどこっちだけありますけど、まあそういうことなんで、まあそういうことエッチはまあエロが好きだけど経済的な理由が多いんで人口減少はまあ止まらないんじゃないですかね。そうそうそう。
物価はどんどん上がってるけど、その賃金上がってないじゃないですか。で、働く時間も長いし、やっぱりもうシンプルにみんな子供を養っていくだけの経済的余裕がないと思うんですよ。
個人的な意見はどうですか？自分の将来子供を持ちたいかとか、とかっていう。
あんまり別にめちゃくちゃ申し訳はないかなっていう、なんか仕事と家庭のバランスっていうのが、まあちょっとディフィカルトそうだなっていうのと、
でも40になる前にはやっぱ欲しいですよ。
やっぱり40ってことは結構、他の国に比べたら遅いじゃないですか。日本人って結婚するの遅いと思いますか？他の国に比べて。
なんだろう、遅い気がしますね。なんか安定志向と、なんかあんまりギャンブルしないから、なんか早く結婚して離婚とかっていうよりは、まずもう周りの様子伺って、経済的余裕持ってとか、会社の立場とか、その蓄えてからとか、なんかセキュリティ、セーフティを作ってから動こうとするから、やっぱなんか30、今普通に30超えてから結婚とか当たり前、30、そうアラフォーになっても、まあ男一人でもそんなにっていう国だから、あんまりそう遅くても違和感ないですね。
なるほど。これの解決策はあると思いますか？人口減少の。
セックス100万円。使えないとして、子供産んだら、なんか政府がやろうとしてるのは、子供産んだら、なんか固定につき、いくらいくらみたいなのしてるけど、よくツイッターとかニュースに流れてくるのは、いや、これこんなぐらいのお金じゃ、どうにもこうにも変わんねえよっていうのはよく見るんで、そしたらなんか外国人をたくさん増やすしかないかもしれない。
なるほど。未来は続いていくと思いますか？こんな感じが。どんどん落ちていくと思いますか？
なんか在日外国人もできたから、トータルの人数は変わらないかもしれないけど、日本人のやっぱ割合っていうのは少しずつこうシュリンキングしていくんじゃないかなと思います。
海外志向の人も多いんで、最近もその海外の良さに気づいて日本からちょっとずつ脱出していく日本人多いじゃないですか。
海外住んでたんですよね。
海外住んでオランダとポーランドに住んでました。
なるほど。Okay, thank you for watching so far. How was it? That was interesting. As a Japanese person who's also worried about Japan's future, this is actually a huge problem. I think Japanese government will accept more foreigners from now on, like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. There's no way to save this country anymore, I think. It's kind of a little bit weird. The country you want to go to, you want to live in, is shrinking, dying. I'm so sorry, but like this is the truth, I think. If you're Japanese, please leave a comment about this topic. And if you're not Japanese, please leave a comment about things that you're worried about Japan, except this topic. Okay, anyway, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like button. Please subscribe to my channel. If there's anything you want me to ask people in Japan, please leave a comment too. See you next time.
Quality video on the tube. On to the next. This one's about China. The media doesn't want you to see this.
Side observation decks. I'm standing 590 meters above one of the most incredible cities in all of the world. This is the city of Chongqing, which over 25 years ago was elevated to the municipality status here in China. And what that means is that this city is now home to over 35 million people, making it the most populated city in the entire world. And looking at the peninsula of Chongqing is absolutely incredible. Many of you might know that China is in fact home to the largest amount of skyscrapers in the entire world and some of the most incredible engineering endeavors. This project right here is the Raffles Center, one of the most expensive and biggest construction projects in all of China's history. This is supposed to resemble a sailboat looking out on the Yangtze River, and as China sails towards the future. Now we're starting today's video on the top of the World Financial Center because when you're exploring a city of 35 million people, I think it's really good to start off getting an aerial view. Again, I've never seen anything quite like this. And Chongqing is really incredible because this was a strategic port for many of the ancient Chinese dynasties. In fact, the very earliest recordings here was actually 1000 BC. And we're going to take you later in that video to the very area where they built the first fort in all of China.
Hey, do you want to find your style? Let's go! You've heard it said that to be creative is to think outside.
Now behind me is the famous Yangtze River. This is called the Long River in Chinese, and by far it is the most important river in all of the country. The Yangtze Delta is responsible for approximately 20% of China's GDP, as this river has been an important part of China's transportation, water, irrigation, sanitation, and trade for centuries now. In addition, we're also only 400 kilometers away from the famous Three Gorges Dam, the largest hydroelectric power plant in existence today. Chongqing plays a vital role in the future success of China, and if we're going to understand what China's really like in 2024, let's head to the street of China's largest municipality. Now the biggest question with China in 2024 is the economy. This is something that everybody is focused on because we have certainly seen China's economy retract and certainly not be as robust as it was before the pandemic. The 3.5 years of the pandemic in China certainly was a difficult time, but there's also a big cultural element that I think people need to understand. You see, when the economic slowdown comes in China, Chinese people actually revert more to a savings culture. This is one of the biggest things that you'll learn about living in China is that the vast majority of Chinese are in fact incredible savers of money. Now what we're seeing now with this economic slowdown, for example, as you can see, I'm standing outside of Times Square. This is a very popular shopping area with a lot of high-end luxury shops. Businesses like Prada and Gucci, Louis Vuitton, the high-end shopping brand, these stores are completely empty. Nobody is in there buying anything. So this is what has shifted a lot in China. The high-end luxury goods, those markets are really suffering. They're having a difficult time in what used to be their most profitable place in the entire world. Again, when I was in China back in 2007, 8, and 9, when the Chinese economy was growing by 12, 14, 15% every single year, these stores were absolutely packed. Chinese consumers were buying tons and tons of luxury goods. But what you're seeing with China's economy is actually something very different. When hard times come, Chinese immediately start saving money and instead resort to other options. Now I'm standing outside of M Stand. This is an artesian gourmet coffee shop that has become very popular in China. This was originally founded in Shanghai, but now there are hundreds of locations around the country. And this is what I mean by Chinese people start to shift. Instead of buying the high-end luxury bags, Chinese people are saving money, and when they're wanting to splurge, they're splurging on things like coffee. So again, M Stand, this is something that would be comparable to a Starbucks. A latte there cost you 36 RMB, which is roughly around $5 US. Not much different than what it costs at Starbucks. So again, what we're seeing here in China is that when the economic slowdown comes in, the super high-end luxury goods start to slow down, but other things start to improve. So for example, the coffee market is actually incredible. Did you know that there are more coffee shops in Shanghai than in New York City and London combined? The coffee culture is alive and well, and again, this is kind of the mini luxury that Chinese people are now enjoying with this economic slowdown. And another market that is experiencing some tremendous growth is the sports industry, and I'm standing outside Li Ning. Now Li Ning is one of the most famous Chinese Olympic gymnasts of all time. In fact, when Beijing hosted the 2008 Olympics, if you remember, it was Li Ning that was running around the track at the top of the stadium and was in fact the final person to light the Olympic torch in the 2008 Beijing Olympics. He has now created an incredible brand, and this is something that I want people to understand. For many years, American brands were always the most popular. Things like Nike or a foreign brand like Adidas, these were considered better, higher end brands. So we're going to check out the flagship store of Li Ning, and one of the interesting things is the rebranding that this company did. They actually wanted to include China directly into the brand name to create more brand loyalty. The first two characters at the top is Dongguo, meaning China, Li Ning. And this was a strategic shift and incredible branding from Li Ning. By putting the actual characters of Dongguo into the actual brand name, a lot of young Chinese are really embracing this brand because for so many young Chinese, they're very proud of being Chinese. They're very proud of their country. And although brands like Nike and Adidas are still very popular here in China, Chinese brands are also becoming very popular. And just like that M Stand coffee that can compete with Starbucks and do well here in China, we're seeing things like Li Ning, once again, producing quality goods that are incredibly popular amongst the Chinese youth. So to give everybody some comparison, this is a high-end premium graphic tee from Li Ning. This costs 299 RMB. That's about $40 US. So once again, very much on par with what you would get at, and probably a similar t-shirt at a Nike or Adidas as well. The Chinese quality has improved over the years. China is producing incredible brands, and not only that, they're being embraced by the population, and that is a big shift that we've seen in China. We're standing outside the Chongqing Cultural Arts Center, and this is one impressive building. One of the things I love about coming to China, it is really an architectural playground for many architects, and this of course is a modern rendition of a traditional Chinese pagoda. Beautiful building here. What a great place for an art center. And what's really unique about this building behind me, it reminds me very similar to the 2010 World Expo that was held in Shanghai, and they built a China pavilion, very similar architecture. Pretty cool to see that concept being implemented here in Chongqing as well. One of the impressive things about Chongqing is it's a city that's really built into the side of the mountain, so as you're exploring the city, you constantly are going up and down stairs. About 3 p.m. in the afternoon, so we're a little bit early for dinner. These seats are set up for people to wait outside. A couple hours, this will be packed full of people. We're kind of right in between the lunch and the dinner rush. Let's go explore some more. We're now standing at the Hongyadong, which is one of the most important and popular cultural and tourist sites in all of Chongqing. Now, what's interesting behind me is you'll see a tremendous amount of local tourists. And actually, Chongqing is the #1 domestic destination in all of China now. So although that we aren't seeing a ton of international travel from the Chinese now, as with these economic slowdowns, domestic travel is skyrocketing through China as people are saying, hey, we've got a beautiful country here. Let's go explore some of the incredible cities. So as we come to the tourist area, many of the people next to me here would actually be from other areas of China. Again, more domestic tourism than any other city in the country at the moment. And we're in a unique location as we're actually on a peninsula. And this is one of the important bridges in the city. This is a unique bridge because on the bottom is actually a train track. And this is where the local metro system goes on the bottom. But as you can see on the top, that is dedicated to automobiles. Beautiful architecture. Now, one of the fun things about traveling through China is that wherever you go, there is some local specialty food. And here in Chongqing, that of course is the spicy red peppers. And I want to show you guys, this is like what the Chongqing people would just snack on. This is some peanuts mixed right into the red peppers here. 好的，谢谢。这个辣椒很厉害了。很棒的。 And what we're looking here, this is actually the base of the hot pot. So this would be a very popular thing that many of the locals would buy. Typically what they'll do is they'll take this and they'll put that directly in their hot pot. Of course, they like it very spicy, and they have different levels of spice. 哪一种是最辣的？这种的，这个叫什么喝？变态辣！哇的天呐！ So whenever you come to China, you've got to always ask for the specialty food. This is a popular one. You've got to come to Chongqing and have a hot pot, get some spicy food. And I think for many foreigners that haven't been to China yet, one of the things that I would want to tell you is that it is absolutely a foodie haven here. You can travel all around the country. Every city has different foods, and I tell you, it's some of the best food in the world. And the variety is what's really incredible about China. It's 5 p.m. local time, and we're getting closer to the evening rush. You can see the crowds behind me starting to fill in. And we're actually in one of Chongqing's busiest tourist areas. This is the heart of the central business district, big shopping area here. And behind me is actually one of the most important monuments in Chongqing. This is actually a war memorial that was first erected to celebrate China's victory over Japan in the Second Sino-Japanese War. But actually it was changed in 1949 by the Liberation Army when they captured the city of Chongqing and actually liberated the city. As you can see behind me, we've got a lot of tourists. Again, Chongqing is the #1 tourist destination for domestic Chinese visitors. So most of the people that you see behind me are actually from other parts of China, all coming to Chongqing. The crowds are filling in, and we're ready for some nightlife here because once the sun goes down, the restaurants start filling up, and there is a hello, come on, and as you can see, most of the people here are extremely friendly and absolutely love interacting with the foreigners. What's incredible here is that a lot of people say that traveling to China is potentially dangerous. Even the State Department from the United States has issued a level 3 travel warning from Americans to coming to China, saying that you risk being arbitrarily detained by the Chinese government. But the reality is that China remains a safe place to come. There's no problem here. But to really understand more about Chongqing, I'm going to bring in somebody that now is a local, and it's somebody that you guys know. Everybody, this is Alex from Reporterfied Media. Alex, great to be with you, brother.
Great to be seen.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Wow, let's go for a little walk and talk. Everybody really enjoyed the first time that we met in Shanghai last summer. Now summer 2024, I'm here in Chongqing, and the title of this video, Alex, is really what is China like in 2024. So I was doing some research and found that the Yangtze River Delta is responsible for 20% of China's GDP.
Yeah.
So we really are at one of the most pivotal cities in China, and you've been here for 4 years now. Yeah. So I want everybody to know a little bit about your expat journey, and what life is like for you here in Chongqing.
Even in the short time that I've been here, I've seen massive changes. You mentioned the Yangtze, we call it the Yangtze River Economic Belt, which is then connected to the Belt and Road, which is connected to the International Land Sea Corridor, which is connected to other corridors. And what happens is this city that is pretty much still kind of unknown to most people. They have a nickname, and it's called 0 kilometer, the starting point of the One Belt, One Road. And I know your viewers know exactly what I'm talking about. You've done many videos about it before. And you brought up that figure, 20%. Yes, this is a river that is a major economic channel. It also, a lot of the goods that are made here need to be transported out of here. So this city 20 years ago was very different to what it is now. This monument behind me here was one of the tallest buildings in the city. And in a matter of 20 some years, this has become a mega city. Still unknown to the West, but very well known to Chinese, and understanding it's an incredibly important part. We hear tier one cities like Shanghai and Beijing, but this city is quite interesting. It's governed by the the central government, and it's a very, very important piece of the One Belt and One Road. And we're going to discuss that today with the viewers as well on what is going on here. Is this just tourism, or is this China's new motor city as well?
So Alex, you brought up a good point here, because one of the things that we hear in America right now is that China's economy is decimated. China's economy is slowing down, and there's no doubt about it. It's certainly not the same economy and the same situation in China pre-pandemic. Right? We have seen a big shift in the country here, and at the same standpoint, what's interesting is in the last 2 months, one of the words we've often heard is overcapacity. Right? Overcapacity. China's overcapacity, and that China's manufacturing too many goods, and that is now a threat to the world. But you mentioned something about the motor city, and what I want to know is how has China's overcapacity actually been a benefit to people here? Because I would say that electric vehicles, certainly China is overcapacity because they're producing more than anybody else. But I think you have some interesting insights about EV cars and how that has really affected life here in Chongqing.
Yeah, let's discuss EV cars, and let's discuss Chongqing. This was a very heavy industrial city. Still is. Nothing's perfect. It knows it has to mature and grow up. But I mean, the sky here is much different than what it was 10 years ago. 20 years ago, you just got to look at the pictures of the city. It's dark and gloomy. Okay, it doesn't matter what day it is.
Right.
Now, blue skies are coming back. The air is much clearer, and that has a lot to do with not just the government's initiative, but also the push towards going to new energy vehicles. Now, this is not an environmental crusade where we're seeing massive groups get together and have let's say, a spokesperson or a Greta saying, the world is over. This is not why new energy vehicles are coming into the market being popular. They're here because economically, they help the average Chinese person save money. First of all, in transportation. Now, this is a country that's laid down more than 60,000 kilometers of high-speed rail. Yes, from city to city. It's great. It helps logistical chains. It helps people get product to the market. It helps farmers. It helps many people get their product to the markets. But if we're going to zero in on what's important in many people's lives around the world, it's a car. Yeah, absolutely. You need to get to work.
Alex, you mentioned, what's the base price? I mean,
okay, let's jump into it.
What's the cheapest car that's available here that's really going to be affordable for the average Chinese?
About $4,000.
$4,000. I'm getting my basic entry-level EV car. And you know what's interesting? I want to just...
Those people look a lot more thin than the average American, is what I'm noticing. The background people, there's a lot of most people are in pretty good shape.
I think that because I started today's video on the top of the
WFC World Financial Center, yeah.
And what was so amazing there is I took some photos there and I sent it to a buddy of mine that lives in Shenzhen.
Right. Okay.
And he used to live in Chongqing.
Right.
He used to live in Chongqing in 2007.
Oh my.
And he was here for half a year and he left back in 2007. Hasn't been back since. And he said, wow, I don't even know what building you're on because there was no building that tall to get a photo of what you got. And I cannot believe the skies are that clean because in the 6 months that I lived here, there was not a single clear day. It was heavy pollution every single day. So I think this is what I want people to really understand. And is the EV plays a large part of that, but also just this is something that China has really excelled in is the green transition and reducing pollution and becoming a much more modern, civilized society. I mean, it's incredible the differences. Again, 2007 is the first year I came.
I want to say this. I was told unreliable, burning down. Yes, we've seen these videos, cars on fire. I mean, we see them with Teslas on fire too. But okay, whatever. Put the differences aside. When my first experience happened with new energy vehicles, I got out of the taxi and I went to the back of the car and I looked at the exhaust and okay, but wait a minute. This felt like a petrol-powered car.
Right.
It was moving fast. It was smooth. It just felt everything like a car. And I thought, well, what are people talking about? Okay, the entry level is $4,000, but it's an entry level car designed for a Chinese to drive in a big city there and back. It's a commuter car. There are some advantages in Chongqing and other cities in China. Getting a car used to be a bit of a process here in China. Right. You might have to apply for a plate. It might cost you tens of thousands of dollars in certain cities. Well, new energy vehicles are green lighted. Buy it, it's on the street, and the shopping mall is ready for you to let you park for free and let you charge for free.
Yeah.
The other thing about what China did is they made sure that the grid pretty much spanned the whole country before they turned the cars on.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we're starting to see here is most of these companies, they understand that collaborations are important. It's not us against him and let's bury this company. We know that there's going to be consolidation in this market, but it's not going away.
Yeah.
This is here to stay. They're going to continue to push forward. Now, the city of Chongqing, 35 million plus, I would say at least 1 in 3 or even 50% of the cars on the road have that green plate, which means they're new energy vehicles.
Easily. And you know what's amazing, Alex? On this time back to China, I've been traveling to Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and now in Chongqing, and that is consistently across the board. I'd say 50% is my guesstimate. And you can just watch cars on the highway, right? I mean, it's just incredible how many green plates, and that is.
And just listen to this for a minute. We're in the city center of 35 million. There's traffic just in front of us here, but you don't hear the the pollution, the exhaust, the noise of the vehicles, the running engines. Whether you like it or not, these cars are coming.
You know, when you come to China, one of the things that I've really noticed on this trip is just, even how much more advanced life is here, right? I mean, this is a cashless society where, I don't go out with a wallet in China. I go out with a cell phone, right?
The wallet,
we live on WeChat Pay. Everything is convenient. I mean, it really is. It does feel like you're stepping into the future here, right? So one of your best performing videos is the cyberpunk video, right? Where it's kind of like a glimpse into the future, and you're just showcasing all of these incredible scenes, and it just is, we just don't have that in the West. It's just China is a step ahead, and that's why it's exciting to come back, because you get a glimpse of what our future is like, looking at this technology.
We're still push this narrative on the Western media that if you go to a cashless society, this is Big Brother going to watch you. Don't be fooled. If you think your North American and European banks do not know what's going on in your accounts, they do. Something that China has done, and they said, okay, there's a reason why maybe we'll go cashless. All right, one of them is they saw a drastic decline in money laundering,
right?
Drugs,
right?
Prostitution. Okay, these are things that I think grip any nation.
Right.
To say that nothing, a society is 100% clean, it would be lying. If that's under control, if theft of money is under control, is corruption. Once again, no nation's perfect, including China. It has ways to go forward to improve that.
Right.
You're an absolute fool if you come to this country and think that you can operate some underground organization. You will be caught.
Yeah,
because there's mechanisms to do that. Now, back to the new energy vehicle. I think it's key to say to the viewers that this is the Chinese government understanding that when you drive these cars, your monthly fuel bill is going to go down by 80%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that means more money. Also, the resale values of these cars are holding their prices. Even Elon Musk is saying there's Tesla, and the other, if you ask Elon Musk, you say Elon, top 10 new energy vehicles in the world.
Yeah.
Of course, he's going to say we're on there, Tesla, but the other 9 are Chinese.
Yeah. Oh, it's undeniable. And I think if you like China or not, China's coming, and it's going to be a part. It's going to be a big player. And one of the most incredible things is how China's actually involved Tesla directly in the ecosystem, right? I mean, 50% of the Teslas are made in the Shanghai Gigafactory, which is incredible. But because China invited Tesla into the country, it has established a huge presence here. It was able to learn and adapt, and that certainly moved that industry very much forward here. And ironically, Alex, that is the funny thing when we look at, for example, the battle of microchips. I think before all of these tariffs and the tech war and the microchip battle, China was the #1 customer for American microchips, and they really didn't have a need to develop the domestic market. They were quite happy to just say, hey, we'll just be your #1 customer. We'll just buy a ton of your microchips, and we're happy to use that. I mean, even today, I was at the Huawei store, because I wanted to check that out. That is, of course, banned in the United States, so we don't see that technology.
Are you serious? You don't see any Huawei handsets?
Zero. I mean,
everyone, I haven't been to North America in a while, so I'm not sure when we hear the bans, if it's really a ban.
Oh, it's 100%. You will not see a single Huawei product in America at all. But what's interesting is even all the new Huawei computers, they still have the Intel chips. They still have a little mark on there. So I think what I want people to understand as well is that despite the fact that U.S.-China relations are at a very low point, there's no denying that, there is still a tremendous amount of collaboration here. I mean,
we need you to send $5 right now. This is a race down to me in Cary Lake.
I was walking
like where we are. I keep interrupting you, Cyrus, but if you go 20 meters that way, you're going to see American brands. You're going to see European brands in these shopping malls. You're going to see American restaurants. You're going to see the Starbucks.
Yeah.
There is a lot of America outside of America sitting here in China. Yeah. And if you look at the Fortune 500, you look at the bottom lines, you will see a special line there. Overseas, EBITDA. It will go right through and say how much of the balance sheet is fueled by China. Do you want to say no to 1.5 billion people buying your product? No, there's a lot of America here, and they embrace it.
It's kind of sad, man. It's like, oh, there's a lot of America here in China. What, because there's Starbucks and Mickey D's? Is that what America is? Starbucks and Mickey D's? $5 coffee pumped with sugar and what? And also the Mickey D's in China, I guarantee you, is cooked with different ingredients than the Mickey D's in America. That's fascinating, right? That if you eat McDonald's in America, you're going to get the American version of McDonald's, which is heavily poisoned. China, I don't know, but it's less poison, I'm pretty sure. I mean, the people are way less fat, right? And then...
Well, Alex, we're walking across the bridge now, across the Yangtze River.
Beautiful skyline here of Chongqing. And then ahead of us, we're looking at Jiang Bay. This is the financial district of the city. But this city, you saw today on the World Financial Center, how far it branches out. As far as the eye can see, you then get the perspective of, yes, this is one of the biggest cities in the world.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is an incredible walk. And we've got the Chongqing Theater here, this beautiful green building over there.
In the springtime, when the water levels start to increase, people come down to the bridge here, and there's a bridge party. They shut these bridges down.
Isn't it funny? These guys are like, oh, man, China's fine. You don't got to worry about China and getting detained by the government. You don't have to worry about that. China's cool. Yeah, well, you definitely don't have to worry about that if in your video you're going to push cashless society and high-level surveillance, which is what they push. They're like, oh, it's cool that I buy everything with my phone here, and oh, because we've gone away from cash, money laundering has gone way down. So the things that the government says you're not allowed to have, people aren't able to buy those things anymore because it's all digital. That's basically what they said. They just said it in a different manner. But, wow. Of course they're not going to get detained. In fact, the Chinese government might have said, hey, make this video and title it, "The media doesn't want you to see this in China." That's a conspiracy.
And people have a celebration and they see, some of the runoff for the spring runoff. It changes, and that's an iconic development there. That's by Capital Land. That was one of the most expensive, real estate projects ever in the city here. You can see the front there is formed as a sail, splitting the two rivers. So it's quite phenomenal. And once again, you see this building here. This is typical for Chongqing. You'll go out on the main floor, and then you'll go to this restaurant. You think, okay, I'm on the lobby floor, and you'll get into the elevator, and it'll say like floor 17. You're like, well, no, I came in on the main floor, but you can see how far down these buildings go. This is normal for Chongqing.
Yeah, it's a city built on the side of a mountain.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has this beautiful peninsula. Yeah, so we're leaving the peninsula now. And Alex, I just think, in the 12 months since my last visit to China, I do see a little bit of differences here. I do see that the restaurants are filled with people. That people are, a lot of domestic tourism here coming to Chongqing specifically. I still think that there's a lot of optimism amongst the Chinese people here. I mean, every country has economic slowdowns. I mean, I remember being in, hearing 2008, 2009 when we had the financial crisis that just ripped through the real estate market in North America. Slowdowns are possible and anywhere in the world. But I think that they have built here is just truly one of the most incredible cities in the world.
You mentioned slowdown. You mentioned the buzz feeling. Okay, Shanghai was open, but it didn't have just yet that buzz that you need. When you close down the entire global economy for almost 3 years, there's going to be repercussions.
Yeah.
And the Chinese are very aware of that. They understand that. Even during the pandemic, there was concern on how is this country going to come out of this.
Right.
Now, some will agree with the strategy, some will disagree with the strategy, but we are here in 2024. We are out of it. Some of the decisions here are responsible. I know that this isn't a country that, at least for the 3 years I was here, I did not see price increases much on vegetables, the common thing that people need to feed themselves, gasoline, important things in people's lives where a lot of people really miss this. They'll say, well, the property prices are going up and the stock market is flying, so everything is okay. We had a great discussion about this yesterday, talking about, the stock market might be up, but there's a lot of people that can't even afford eggs and milk. The Chinese, at least for the 3 years of my experience, going to markets and grocery stores and eating, there hasn't been much inflation issues here. Okay? The government understood that we got to come out of this. It's not going to be easy. I would never want the job of 1.5 billion people. No thanks. They come out of it slow. They didn't come out of it and say, all right, let's press the pedal on printing money. Let's rip the economy. Let's pump in and flush the economy with money. Let the pieces fall where they may. Let the inflation run rampant. We saw that playbook happen in America. You're witness to it. You see it every day there. Now, that's not to say that the Chinese rule book coming out of this is going to succeed. But I feel the slow steps now, we're kind of grinding it. Some of the colleagues I work with say, yeah.
I mean, what he's saying isn't even true. He's like, oh, the Chinese government's like, oh yeah, we'll just not, inflate and do all that. And it's like our government did it on purpose. Our government printed infinite money and gave the majority of it away. They gave the majority of it away to other countries. So it's like, yeah, we're getting inflated, but we're not even sending the currency into America. So it's like, and if we do, it's to house foreigners.
8 months ago, it wasn't good at all. The economy, it's a little bit better now, but I want it to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
And it's getting there.
I think so. And one of the other interesting things that I want to talk about is just the fact that we're seeing China opening up more. And what we've seen in the last, foreign visitors coming to China is up 305% in Q1 2024 compared to the same period last year. And we've seen a tremendous amount of moves from China's government. I mean, just in the past week here in Chongqing, we've seen the Australian government, the New Zealand government, both announced that now their citizens can come here visa free.
These were there. Here's the beautiful thing about China. It can put its geopolitical issues to the side and say, you know what, guys, let's do trade, let's make business together. I guess the blueprint for that is the One Belt One Road, 153 countries and growing, where China says, you know what, whatever geopolitical differences we've got, we still got to trade, we still got to, not hurt our infrastructure. It's funny that you mentioned the travel here. This city of Chongqing, once again, not very well known internationally, has pumped billions of dollars into a new terminal called the T3B. And you go down there, and every week they have this ceremony. We've opened direct flights with Rome, very well known internationally, has pumped, still got to, not hurt our infrastructure. It's funny that you mentioned the travel here. This city of Chongqing, once again, not very well known internationally.
That's filtered, bro. That's not what it looks like. Maybe it is.
Has pumped billions of dollars into a new terminal called the T3B. And you go down there, and every week they have this ceremony. We've opened direct flights with Rome. We've opened direct flights with Barcelona. You might find that funny to hear, but this is a city getting ready. This is a country getting ready. And when you start to hear those barriers come down, and the word gets out that China isn't big bad China what you thought, we're seeing a lot of our mates and other influencers and YouTubers and TikTokers, whatever, roll into this country and say, wait a minute, this isn't what I was told. Maybe I'll go back, get another visa, come back for 60 days and see China. Like we just saw Patrick Lancaster arrive here. It's the Donbass area, okay? And he's said to me today, well, I was supposed to maybe fly back tomorrow, but I'm going to extend. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. I think the big thing is that, and I know this is something that for both of us, I mean, we've had a combined almost 15 years in China, and I think it's just, you have to get on the ground here. Alex, how incredible. Yesterday we were sitting right on this bridge and we had a group of young students come to us, and that's what I want more people to understand is that as an American, coming here, I've felt nothing but warm welcomes from the Chinese people. China's open. China's always going to continue to be a player. It is going to be a force in this world. There's no denying that. It will be a part of it, and the best way to experience it is to come here and do it yourself.
Oh, and we must mention the cost to come here when you are here and whatever luxuries. If you see some of these buildings behind us here, some of them have what they're called micro hotels. And that would be a businessman that says, okay, I don't want to build a 20-story building. Give me a floor in an office tower. And they will take that floor and they will change it and convert it into a hotel. Now, some of these prices start at something crazy. I did a vlog on it, $15, $20 a night. You think, oh, is it a hostel? No, it's a newly clean 2 or 3 star hotel here in Chongqing. And then you get to the real players, the Nicolos, the Intercontinentals, the Raffles. Oh, yeah, it's great. If you want to come to a country where I would say the welcome mat and the red carpet is rolled out for you, It's right here.
Yep, agreed. Well, Alex, it's always a pleasure to catch up with you. Thanks for filling me in on your journey in Chongqing and letting me know what this city's been doing the last few years. 2023 we met in Shanghai. 2024 we're in Chongqing. Let's tell the visitors, where do you want to visit in 2025?
It's interesting you say that. What I've done here in 3 years, to having my name on a skyscraper, to having a TV show, being one of the first foreign anchors on a TV show, satellite television show in China, first ever.
Yeah.
You know what? Make it Beijing.
Let's do it. Beijing 2025. Everybody go follow Alex. You know where to find him. I'll put the links down in the description below. And everybody,
But duh. I mean, homie's on a TV show in China, bro. Homie's definitely bought and paid for. I don't know what this guy's doing, but they're associated, bro. I'm not anti-China by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't know, man. This is just...
thank you so much for being with us here in beautiful Chongqing, and we'll see you in our next video.
I mean, knowledge, man.
Question. Would you build a website?
Knowledge. I mean, my mind is expanded.
Even though Japanese culture can emphasize conformity, it doesn't mean it's boring. Unity is everywhere. Japan is an eclectic blend of future and past, digital and analog, Gundam and samurai. But this level of creativity isn't just about what you can see. It's about the stories they tell. Stories of brokenness and stories of redemption. Okay, so I can't really talk about Japanese storytelling without talking about anime. Anime is not the first or only form of Japanese art. In fact, Japan has been making art for thousands of years. Paintings, sculptures, even the way they serve tea is an art form. But anime and manga are also a lot older than you might think. They go back as far as 1907, and today have massive global impact, especially in the US. It's estimated that 60% of animated series made today are of Japanese origin. Some of the most critically acclaimed stories today are told by Hayao Miyazaki, Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle, just to name a few of his movies. And these aren't just kids' cartoons. Sure, there are those as well. But many anime series explore complex themes around pain and suffering. And as is the case with most art, a lot of Japanese art is born out of struggle, loss, and hurt. And Japan is no stranger to hurt. Just think about the atomic bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, or even more recently, Japan's natural disasters. Japan sits on the western edge of the Ring of Fire, and on March 3rd, 2011, the whole country was shaken.
8.9 magnitude. Now we know that's a big number. It was the 5th largest earthquake. Japan's catastrophic tsunami rising out of the Pacific. It's huge waves sweeping away everything in its path. A massive wall of water that rose as high as 30 feet, swallowing up parts of Japan.
The tsunami wiped out entire villages and displaced nearly 500,000 people from their homes. It also caused explosions at the Fukushima nuclear power plant that led to the evacuation of 150,000 people from the area. The whole disaster was so devastating, Japanese people call the day 3/11. And all this comes on top of even deeper needs. Many struggle with shame and loneliness. As many as 1.5 million people are considered hikikomori, which means they isolate themselves from the pressures of the outside world.
Hidehiro Shimasu is one. His bedroom has been his universe for the best part of 20 years. He's now 40 years old. Hidehiro spends most of his day touching the world through this screen. His downward spiral began when he couldn't live up to his family's and society's expectations.
Japan's suicide rate is high, and it grew higher during the pandemic. One pastor told me that everyone is 1 degree of separation away between knowing someone was committed suicide. In October 2020, Japanese authorities reported 2,100 suicides during that month alone. Fewer people had died of COVID in Japan during the whole year. Meanwhile, the birth rate in Japan is dropping, and the number of elderly people is rising. Japan is the only country in the world where adult diapers outsell infant diapers. Officials worry about how to provide social services, and many older people wonder who will care for them. Human trafficking is also a problem. In the U.S.
knowledge right there. That is a little tidbit. That's the only country where adult diapers outsell kid diapers. China. I mean Japan.
Department reported that Japanese authorities continue to demonstrate a lack of political will to criminally investigate and prosecute cases of labor trafficking and child sex trafficking. Just this year, Japan raised the age of consent for sexual activity to 16. Before that, the legal age of consent was 13 years old. But even with all this brokenness, there's still so much beauty in Japan. Sexual activity to 16. Before that, the legal age of consent was 13 years old. But even with all this brokenness, there's still so much beauty in Japan. And maybe that's partly because art is often born out of trauma, and also because a search for beauty points to a search for the creator of beauty.
Hi, I'm JT, and I made Result Hunter, the search engine for conservatives. Let me just tell you what it does. First,
to better understand this search, I visited a friend. Her name is Aya. She also lives in Tokyo, and she's an artist who sees the hand of the creator all over Japan.
Crushing mineral, and the fact that, so this white one, this is a oyster shell. You buy it like this, and you have to crush this into really, really fine powder. And then you mix it with the glue into a little dough, and they call it 100 pounds. So you literally like pound it down to the ground, get the air out. And my teacher was saying, if you're lazy, it shows up in your color. So the more that you pound and more that you crush, that your white actually becomes purer. You do this thing to check your heart. And she always says, you know, you never paint something to conquer the subject. And she said, come under what you're painting, and your art will always be better. And even those times, you know, I'm like, oh, it's like reading the scripture. We want to come under the word of God. Yeah, I just find that this process of crushing, it truly feels like a worship, because, you know, like, contrite spirit, God doesn't despise. I just wanted to paint a restful scene, and I started painting it. And probably 2 months in, after this, I discovered my husband's like 10-year affairs, and a lot of lies came to light. And it was just so shocking that I couldn't, the colors left my eyes. I can't paint this anymore, and I actually need to stop all of it because my heart just left So then I took a break. I came back to this piece and I actually washed off all the like layers of what I had painted, and then I re-layered different type of blue over it, and I kept layering with blue, and I thought that it would just look like just a blue square, but you can actually see all the rocks through it. And my teacher was saying, oh, it's because you washed it, like it's because of your tears, like you can see like what's under. And then I realized, oh wow, like how it's almost like God sees my grief, and even though I try to cover it, it's still there.
There's this guy named Roger Lauter. He's an artist and missionary in Tokyo. His book, The Broken Leaf, describes how much brokenness and beauty are tied together in Japan. Look at the art of the tea ceremony. For the aroma and flavor of tea to come out, the leaf must be broken. Look at kintsugi pottery, where craftsmen repair broken bowls using gold. You still see the cracks, but now they're golden. And he says somehow these vessels were more beautiful and more valuable for having been broken. It all points to a world broken by sin and people broken by sin. But it also points to the gospel.
I have to embrace light and dark at the same time. I have to embrace grief and joy at the same time. And the life is never that clean cut. I was like, oh, in the moment of grief, there can be joy. Like, in the moment of sadness, there can be rest. I actually shared with my classmates about, you know, when I was finally able to embrace my weakness and sadness, and I was vulnerable about that before the Lord, I found peace. Like, I found rest. And maybe that's what this Busho Onsen is like in the midst of the battle, not when you're pretty, like, you know, not when you're put together in your perfect armor and, you know, wash off all the blood, but no, like you're bloodshed, you're like exhausted, and you just saw death. And that's when you soak naked before the Lord, and that's when you find rest.
There's something that Lauter said in his book that stuck with me. A broken world is healed by a broken Christ on a broken tree. That's our hope. That's Japan's hope. That all of the brokenness will point to the beauty of being made whole again in Christ, who was broken for our sin. There is hope when we remember that hard to reach doesn't mean impossible to reach. Whether it's sharing the gospel with a Japanese student in your own neighborhood or going all the way to the nations, we have a mission to carry out. So let's pray that the beauty of the gospel will once again shine brightly in the land of the rising sun.
That was a cute video. All right. Nice knowledge. Might be stretch o'clock. Boy. Come on now. It's intensity right there. It's intense stretches. Oh, jeez Louise, man. That's something else. Ooh. Now this is what the doctor don't tell you about. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Get that full extension. Oh yeah. Oh. Oh man. Let me turn on my stretchy music. Getting kind of sleepy, man. Sheesh. Getting real sleepy. Damn, that boy fast. Damn! Smart guy. Got him! Damn, that was a quick roach right here, bro. Just test my speeds. Final stretch. And when you're stretching, I'm gonna give you a little stretch hack right here. When you're stretching, it's gonna be helpful if you can keep your arms down. You wanna let them hang. And that way, you'll be able to more properly, you know, when you're moving the arms, stretching, it'll help you to get a deeper level. And then when you pick them up, keep it all tight. You want that neck kind of right in the middle of your body, remember? And yeah, just like that, I'm starting to feel a lot looser. That's a damn cockroach leg, man. Savage out here. I got this little tool. Ooh, that's nice. That's real nice. Ooh, just like that. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, dog. No weed needed. I'm feeling refreshing. Oh boy, that's nice. That's real nice, right? Oh, what's the word they say? Decompression. Spinal decompression, dog. Ooh. And just like that, I'm already starting to feel real loose. I'm feeling about 3% better. 0.33% better, actually. That's fire. Alright, well, guess recess into the line. Good stretch.